Hello and welcome to the United Stand. It's Manchester United versus CSKA Moscow in the Champions League midweek game. We're back in the studio. Great weekend for Manchester United. I've heard United fans saying that they were quite surprised by the Arsenal result at the weekend. Don't think we were on the United Stand. I think we all pretty much knew we had to win it. The season depended on it, and when that happens, Mourinho tends to pull out a result, which is why I'm very confident about the game against City on Sunday. But that will take care of itself. What are we going to be talking about tonight? It is Monday night, so it will be a Skype show, but I've got to get through all the preview stuff for Moscow, then we'll open up the calls. One of the topics I want to talk about tonight, and I will talk about it, is why Paul Pogba is a better midfielder than De Bruyne, and why some of our supports are really baffling me at the moment. I see it all the time. I've seen it over the last few weeks. Oh, City are better than us. De Bruyne is better than Pogba. Pogba did deserve a red card. And I'm just thinking, look, everybody's different in life. But what you really need to get this siege mentality back. It's United or nowhere, and that's what I was brought up on, and that's what Sir Alex Ferguson taught us. And if you're too young to remember that, you need to cop on a little bit, because all this, in fairness, it was a red, in fairness, De Bruyne is better than Pogba. Where's the loyalty to your club? I know sometimes loyalty means stubbornness, means, you know, sort of naivety in a way, but it's supporting your club. Let's start off with Pogba. Phil Jones, Matic is not playing tomorrow. Zlatan probably won't play either. But Paul Pogba, there is a ban blow in relation to Paul Pogba. Obviously, he has been sent off at the weekend, wrongly in my opinion, which I'll talk about in a moment. But the Manchester United will not be appealing the ban. And to me, that's a blow, because that effectively puts him out of the City game. And look, I said at the weekend, I'll say it again, only an idiot who's never played the game before thinks that that was a red card for Paul Pogba, or somebody's just trying to be a United hater. Because if you've played the game before, and it was put to Dermot Gallagher on Sky today, who sort of reviews the refereeing stuff of the weekend, and the presenter said, very pertinent question, he said, what can Paul Pogba do to avoid that situation? And in some ways, they tried to liken it to what Mane did against Man City. Lucky City. But what can, you know, Mane didn't have to go for that 50-50. I suppose you could say the same about Pogba. But the reality is the referee went, well, I don't know what else he could have done, but for me it's a red card and a brilliant bit of refereeing by the referee. I think Manchester United should appeal it, because I think by accepting it, we are accepting it's a red card. And I think what we've actually done is we're not appealing it because we know what will happen. We know it will be upheld, and they'll use United as an example, and they'll probably give him a 4-match ban. I think that's weak from United, although some people might say it's, you know, intelligence, because I do agree, if we'd appealed it, it would have been upheld 100%. So actually, it's not weak from United, but I would like it. It's intelligent because it would have been upheld. But what my point is, I just think on principle we should have appealed it. We should have just appealed it because it wasn't a red card. I mean, I've watched it so many times. I watched it on the night. It's on our Twitter feed if you want to see it in slow motion. What the hell is Bellerin doing? I would never wish injury on any player, but when you lay your leg down like that in a 50-50 challenge, I've never seen anybody tackle like that. It's pussy challenge. It's an absolute wimp of a challenge. It's a stupid challenge, and the most important thing is Paul Pogba can't do anything. He's got to go for that ball. It looks malicious because Bellerin basically lays his leg on the floor exactly where Pogba's foot's going to land. It's ridiculous. It's not a red card. It should be appealed. But I suppose in some ways United have been quite intelligent because they know what's going to happen. Shahid says, I'd rather take a 4-match ban than accept it. And I'm the same, because I really don't think it was a red card. But it's been given. So Pogba will play against Moscow tomorrow night. United need to lose by 7 goals or more to go out. So, you know, we'll be doing the watch along. I'll be back in the chair and looking forward to it. And hopefully we'll see some of the players I'm going to talk about in a minute. But, you know, United will win this game and we'll win the group. So I would hope that we will see people like maybe Twansibi. I don't think we will. I think he'll play a stronger team. I think, you know, playing Tuesday and then playing Man City on a Sunday, it's 5 days. So he'll probably just keep a lot of people fresh, and I think he'll try things in relation to that City game. Many people have said it in the live comments though. If you just stick Herrera on De Bruyne, I think City will be fit. I nearly swore. We'll struggle. It's just whether we can create enough chances, and they're weak at the back. Luke Shaw could play tomorrow night. I really hope he does. This is the perfect game to give Luke Shaw some game time. And Luke Shaw's not going to start at left back for any time soon. Ashley Young's been fantastic. He was very good at the weekend, as was the whole back five. And to be honest, that wing back in a back five or a 3-5-2 really suits Ashley Young really well. But what I would like to see is Luke Shaw knocking on the door. Knocking on the door as being the backup for Ashley Young, and that's a step forward. And then, you know, maybe Ashley Young gets injured or loses some form, and Luke Shaw works his way back in, maybe in February, March time. And that's what I'd like to see from Luke Shaw, because I think he would really fit that 3-5-2 really well. So I'm hoping Luke Shaw starts tomorrow. Mourinho said he'll definitely be on the bench, or he might start. He's not said either way. Another player that's interesting of me is that I saw some pictures of him today from Carrington. About Phil Jones back in training. A lot of people, oh yeah, Phil Jones is back in training. And I just thought, you know, I just went like, get in line, Phil. We've got Lindelof, we've got Smalling, and we've got Rojo, and they've been bloody fantastic. You know, there is no way in a million years, and obviously, you know, I criticise people saying they live up Pep's bottom, but I probably live up Mourinho's bottom a little bit. I do really like Mourinho, and I think he's the right man, but I don't agree with everything he does. And I'd be disappointed if Phil Jones walks back into the team, and Eric Bailly, even though I think Eric Bailly should be in the first team. I would be a little bit disappointed if Phil Jones walked straight back in the team, because Smalling's been immense and is better in the air. Lindelof has, you know, that tackle against Brighton, but then he went to Watford and he went to Arsenal. 2 season-defining games, played fantastic away from home in pressure cooker environments. So I wouldn't want to drop Lindelof for Jones either, because I think Lindelof will be better than Jones. And Rojo's been brilliant either. So Phil Jones being back's great, but as I said at the weekend, in relation to Phil Jones and Eric Bailly somewhat, you know, when the going got tough, where were you? Injured again. So my loyalties with Smalling and Lindelof and Rojo, I think they've been bloody fantastic. And Phil Jones being back's great, but no way should he walk straight into the team. I don't know what people think about that. DWR Music says, to be fair, Mourinho has got a nice bottom. It's the battle of the bottoms. Whose do you like better, Pep or Mourinho's? They're both quite toned for men in their, you know, are they in their 50s now? So anyway, who would have thought we'd be talking about who's got the better arse, Mourinho or Pep? Matic will not play against CSKA Moscow tomorrow, which is, you know, very, very intelligent. To be honest, I was just ecstatic Matic played against Arsenal. There was concerns about that. Obviously he did, give him the week off, ideal. Getting back for the City game, be very important. It's going to be hard without Pogba. I'm not going to talk about that too much, because we'll be talking about that after tomorrow night. Zlatan didn't play at the weekend. Now, the update about why Zlatan wasn't on the bench at the weekend, and we didn't need him. I didn't think it suited him, that sort of game, to be honest, where it was very fast and quick, and that's not Zlatan. Mourinho said, look, there's no injury concerns with Zlatan. He's working his way back from a very big injury. When he puts more effort in training around building the knee up, there's more fatigue afterwards, and he just wasn't match fit. But there's no major concerns about him, so I would think that maybe Zlatan, I don't know, I'm surprised if Zlatan sits out tomorrow night again and sort of keeps him in eye for the City game, because at home against Pep, I think Mourinho will want Zlatan involved, because Zlatan hates Pep more than I do. So, you know, and I can't play for United. So, you know, Zlatan being involved in a game like that is far more important than him being involved against Moscow, but he could be involved in both. Chad, Pogba can play the Champions League game. Yes, it's a domestic ban, so he will play in relation to that. We've talked about Jones, we've talked about Shaw. We talked about the Pogba appeal, we talked about Matic. One other thing that people may not have noticed in this environment of positivity that we have at the moment around Manchester United, and what a weekend it was. I think my score predictions on both Watford and Manchester United is that I was, you know, your head says one result, but I said win both games. I said 2-1 United, didn't I? And it was 3-1 against Arsenal. But I predicted wins for both, because I couldn't in my mind envisage any other results, because I didn't want to deal with it. Of course we could have drawn, of course we could have lost to Arsenal and Watford, but we didn't. We won them games, we needed to win them, and I feel it'll be the same against City at the weekend. There's a lot riding on that personally. I've been digging out City fans for about 3 weeks now, and yes, I know they're 8 points ahead of us, but there was going to be a lot of stuff hitting the fan if we don't win, especially at Old Trafford. And I think, you know, the title's on the line. If we lose at Old Trafford to City, it will go to double points. And we've lost at Old Trafford. But I don't want to talk about that too much. What I do want to talk about is that Anthony Martial was substituted at the weekend, and apparently he has been a bit of lip reading, and apparently he was calling Mourinho a son of a bitch, and stuff like that when he was substituted in the 67th minute. I ain't got a problem with that. I ain't got a problem with that. If he's passionate and angry that he's been substituted, then I guarantee you Mourinho will stay the same. He'll probably laugh at it and go, you know what, do you think I'm going to get personal about a player being angry with me for taking him off? I think, you know, that is what you want. You want a player like that. You want one of your best players to be angry that you've substituted them. I personally love Anthony Martial, but I do agree with him being substituted against Arsenal. The way that game was going, we needed to sacrifice somebody. Obviously, Lingard went on to score the winner and played a really well, you know, played a good game. So would you have taken him off? Probably not. You wouldn't take Lukaku off because of his physicality and his strength. So, you know, Martial, I can understand his disappointment, but I don't see there being any fallback from that, especially when Martial at the moment has been so important for us. And for me, that's one of the assists of the season, the one he set up for Lingard with the first goal. So, you know, Martial's still on an upward curve, but he's getting better and better, and he's starting games, and I think he's going to be very important against Manchester City at the weekend. Because in fairness, Marcus Rashford, I don't know what you lot think, but Marcus Rashford is struggling a little bit at the moment. I've got no long-term concerns about Marcus Rashford, by the way. I think he's a fantastic talent. I just think at the moment, Martial's on a different level to Rashford, and Rashford, I think we'll see a return to form very soon. But in relation to the Moscow game, I totally expect United to win it. If we win it, we top the group. We need to top the group because obviously, I think whatever happens, I think this is a great... Just talking about the Champions League very quickly, being as it's a Champions League preview, and then we're going to go into the Skype calls. And I do want people to call in and say, you know, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do tonight, you know, I'm happy to talk. People can come in and say what they like about the red card. Should we have appealed the red card? What you're thinking about the weekend against Arsenal? What you're thinking about the City game? Who's better, Pogba or De Bruyne? But I will take your calls in a minute. But what I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, the Champions League. I'm just going to grab... Oh, I've hit a call now. Andy, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Mark, how are you doing?
How you doing, pal? I'm just going to say something and I'll take your call if that's all right.
Yeah, cool.
All I was going to say is that in relation to the Champions League this year, finishing top of the group is obviously preferable because then you don't get many of the teams that finish second, but Real Madrid are going to finish second in their group. In relation to the Champions League, I know it's a long way off February, but this is going to be a very exciting Champions League this season because there's so many good teams in it, and you know, United, let's see what happens, but we'll win tomorrow night. Anyway, Andy, you're first up again. What did you want to talk about?
A little bit about Mourinho, Mark, if that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, and probably a lot of the United Stand viewers know, I'm not a fan of Mourinho, but I think he deserves a lot of praise for the way he set us up against Watford and Arsenal. It's completely different, really, to the way he approached the Liverpool game, and as fans, I think I'm right in saying that we all wanted to see that, us going to, you know, a team like Watford in form and Arsenal and imposing our game plan onto them rather than just letting them come onto us. We dropped deep in both games late on and looked to hit on the break, but I think that's only natural, especially under Mourinho, and a 3-goal lead against Watford and 2 against Arsenal. And he deserves massive praise for that, Mourinho. And I wanted to say as well, I don't know if you remember, Smalling had quite a long injury layoff last season. I think it was maybe a toe injury or something like that. And Mourinho was asked about it, and he said something along the lines of some players at this club don't want to play through the pain barrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to curse it because I guarantee I've probably cursed it now. But Smalling seems to really listen to him because, as you've been saying constantly, where would we be without Smalling now? With Bay and Jones out injured, and he's been fighting fit for a while now, Smalling, and because of that, his form has picked up as well. He's looked really strong and consistent. And Matic, another example, went off in the Watford game, massive doubt. I was panicking because I thought he'd be out the Arsenal game, but he gets himself back, and I think Mourinho came out afterwards and said that as well. You know, he's a warrior, getting himself back for the game, and it's really refreshing to see. And again, he deserves a lot of praise for that, Jose.
Yeah, true. Sorry.
And
go on.
The resurgence of Lindelof as well, and I came on, and I know you've backed him as well. I've been backing him all the way, and I really hope he keeps it up as well. I'm not jumping on the bandwagon by any means, saying, oh yeah, you know, he's proved himself now. He still needs to prove himself, Lindelof, but he's looked really good, and long may that continue. My opinion on Mourinho doesn't change. I think for it to change, we need to see this on a more consistent basis. But it's heading the right way, definitely, and I'm really happy with it. I actually, I know you said at the top of the show, you were confident about the Watford and Arsenal games. I wasn't. I know we saw in the Chelsea game a difference of approach where although we lost to Chelsea, I thought Mourinho approached that in the right way as well. And I was scared that he was sort of thinking, oh, well, I've listened to United fans and gone at Chelsea and now I'm not going to do it. But in fairness to him, he stuck to that against Watford and Arsenal. I'm really, really happy that he has done that. I'm really glad about that.
I mean, I think we've seen with recently, 3 or 4 pretty poor teams, Southampton, West Ham, Huddersfield, very unlucky against Manchester City. In fact, it sort of stumped the press a bit because I think they wanted to carry on, like I say, living up Pep's bottom with 5-0 wins. But actually, United have got the good wins. 6-7 goals so away from home. Watford and Arsenal, and played really good football. And we've not really heard a lot about that in the press. But I think if anybody there shouldn't be a blueprint to beat Arsenal at all. But I think we saw that at the weekend, which was fantastic. On Lindelof, I think if he was to make a mistake in the derby at the weekend, I guarantee people would be calling him Linderflop again. But I think his performances the performances in the last 3 or 4 games have destroyed all that Linderflop stuff. And I'm sure he will make mistakes again, but I think he's shown us over the last few games that he can be really, really good. I wouldn't say I was confident we were going to beat Arsenal and Watford, by the way. I just think I went for wins because we had to win, and we did win. And on Mourinho, Truth Teller was saying, well, he had to do that because if he didn't, if we'd parked the bus, we wouldn't have won games. But Mourinho, I'm still a bit surprised Mourinho went the way he did. Very, very happy, but his history would have been, especially the Arsenal game, would have been to sit and park the bus and try and hit them on the break. But we didn't do that. We didn't hit them. We didn't park the bus until Pogba was sent off. And then when we did park the bus, I just never fancied Arsenal to score after that because we did fantastically well. But just very quickly, before I get another caller on, Andy, your thoughts about the weekend, honestly. Just a very quick sort of prediction on that.
I think we can actually beat them because, like you said, they're not good at the back. They've been lucky over the last few weeks. I think we can really, and like you said, if anyone's got a plan to beat Pep, that fraud, it's Mourinho, definitely. We'll give him a good game, definitely. I don't think we'll lose, but I do think we'll win. I think we'll win 2-1. I'm going to go. That's my prediction.
Great. I think it's going to be an epic game. I can't wait for it. But thanks for calling, Andy. As per usual, great call.
All right, thanks, Mark. All the best.
Cheers, pal. I'm going to take another call. Obviously, the City game is on everybody's mind, and we've still got 6 days to go for that. We've got the Moscow game tomorrow, previewed at the start of the show. We'll be doing the watch along tomorrow night, but it is all about the City game. And I think, as I said last night when I was on my little break, doing it off my phone, I think we'll win. But I do think if we draw, it's not over. I know 8 points. You've got to, it's in our hands, isn't it? And if we don't take that opportunity, then we don't take it. But I think we will do it. But Jared, can you hear me?
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
Good, thanks. You? What do you want to talk about?
Excellent, excellent. I want to talk a little bit about this weekend. Just very, very, very impressive by Mourinho. Yeah. Very impressive. And I want to talk about Lingard.
Yeah, well, probably not enough to talk about him. I mean, fantastic. Fantastic. There were tap-ins, but he's overall... He started with that Watford goal, and it's as if something in his head has switched. Because Lingard's not got a lot of great attributes. He is a bit weak. His final ball's a bit dodgy at times. But one thing he is good at is when he gets the ball, he's running at the opposition, and he didn't seem to want to do it. He always wanted to. There was something levelled about Lingard that I think 90% of his passes are sideways or backwards. And it's as if somebody's had a word with him and said, when you get the ball and the space is there, run into the bloody space. And
right.
Brilliant.
It's like someone went to him and said, you're not playing for Louis van Gaal anymore. No more back passes. No more side passes. Move forward. But for the way he played, we say tap-ins, and it was tap-ins. But honestly, if Lukaku knew how to do a tap-in, he'd have a few more goals in the past few games. And I just think Lingard showed up. And the thing is for a guy that takes as much shit as he does, and it's a lot from United fans, the $100,000 a week contract, all this other stuff. That's a player that people who maybe don't have the talent level of Martial could aspire to in this club. And we need role players like that because you know what? In the end, if we are to beat a team like City, I have this weird feeling that the role players are going to be the ones to do it. I hope that Martial's the guy to have that one moment of greatness in that game, but I have to think people like a Fellaini and like a Lingard, and understand this is a nightmare for me to have that be the case. But without Pogba, those two I feel like are going to be heavily involved. And one of them as a substitute and one of them as a starter.
The thing about, look, there's a couple of things said there that are just pinging sort of electrodes in my head. I've got to answer that. I've got to bring that in because you're mentioning good things that are going to spiral off. What I would say about the Lingard thing, first of all, is that, you know, when you were saying that, I was feeling an element of guilt because I've been quite critical about Lingard, and I'll always put my hand up when I get things wrong, Matic. But you know what? I don't regret being negative about Lingard because he deserved it, and I don't want people to start thinking, oh, I don't want to be negative about a player because in a few months' time it might prove me wrong. That's football. You know, you've got a right to be negative. But I think the important thing is, when they flip it round, and United fans tend to be like this, is that when a player does turn it round, is that you stand up and applaud them and say, you know what, I've given you some stick, but you've been fantastic lately. And yeah, so I think he's been great in relation to that. And I think what you said about Fellaini, that worries me. I think Fellaini against Man City would worry me. It's the worst game to play him in.
Me too. I'm very nervous about it. I just don't think we have a choice.
Yeah,
right?
Well, we saw... The trouble is, the only negative for me about the City game, and I don't know what you think, Jared, is that when Pogba's come back, we've been bloody brilliant. We've scored loads of goals. We've been brilliant. When Pogba wasn't there for a month in October, we were awful. Biggest game of the season, we've got ourselves back into this position where we can actually beat City and be in a title race, and we're going to have to do it without Pogba, which in some ways is exciting because you can't be a one-man team, but in other ways it's highly frustrating because we're a much better team with him.
I couldn't agree more. And it's, you know what the thing is, I don't know if other people feel this way, but it is getting to the point where I am 100% certain that when City are down, they're going to win. Like, I don't know, but that's the feeling I used to have with us.
Yeah,
no matter what, it wasn't even a doubt. But this team, look, I despise Pep Guardiola. I don't hate any manager as much as him. His stupid facial reactions, the way he acts on the sideline, he's a child. But what's even worse about it is that Mourinho is such a better manager than he is. And the press, the way that they've treated Mourinho, it's the way they treat United. They're clickbait Mourinho, just like they clickbait us, and they blow Pep. Literally, at any level. I know you might have to bleep that. But in all honesty, you sit there and you're like, at what point are you guys going to say, like, 2-1 wins against West Ham are not going to do it? You know, like, that's not a real team. If you can't beat David Moyes 4-0, how, you know, and like that's the games where like I know they didn't do anything, but it's a frustrating team to watch. And when I talk about them, I get more annoyed because we should win the title this year, and I have this weird feeling that the FA will never allow it. And you know what? Like, look, they didn't have anything to do with West Ham losing that game, but they have had multiple reasons why City have not dropped points before. And in the end, 8 points is a lot. I pray we get to 5, but I'm actually taking a new approach at the whole thing, and I'm just thrilled that we are firmly in second place.
Yeah,
I think we've had an unbelievable change of pace for the club, and I look at it and I'm like, this is a good thing. Yeah, we may not be fighting for the title within 3 points, but this team any other year would be in first place. And when he brings in the rest of his team, and we get Rose, Griezmann, and we get Ozil, I don't think we're going to be stoppable. And that's what I'm also excited about, what's coming.
Yeah, and the progress is real. The progress is fantastic, and I agree with you. I think, you know, in looking ahead, you won't have to deal with behind if you keep winning. But it is important that we're winning, just because what's going on behind us, about 4 or 6 points behind, there's a real battle there, and I don't want us to slip into that at all. Which is why it's important that we do keep winning. But you're right about Guardiola. I mean, I don't think there's a conspiracy, but I do think that if Manchester United had played Huddersfield, Southampton and West Ham in the last week and scraped lucky wins against all 3 of them, the press would be, the headlines would be, lucky Mourinho wins again. I've not seen anything negative about Manchester City all season. All I've seen is that Manchester City break another record as to how many, their perfect start to the season. There's no negativity about the fact that they're scraping results. They're being very lucky about results. But I also agree there was never any doubt that they would come back and beat West Ham. And, I think somebody will beat Man City and they'll burst their bubble. And I hope it says at the weekend. But thanks for calling, Jared. I'm going to try and get a few more on, but really good call.
I got one quick question for you.
Go on then.
So, did you watch that the Flex and DT? Can someone please discuss with Flex that Lukaku and Lacazette are not a comparison at all? Like, Lukaku is better than Lacazette. We don't need to hear that. I was shocked that he agreed with it, actually.
Right, I must admit I was away at the weekend, so I'm going to hold my hands up and say I haven't watched all of the fan cams and I didn't see that comment. And if I did, I probably would have said something by now. So he said that he said that Lacazette is on a par with Lukaku.
He said he would rather have Lacazette than Lukaku.
Oh God! Someone's getting their P45 in the morning. Someone's getting sacked. I mean, yeah, I cannot. I cannot.
I'm sure you'll enjoy it.
He's the French Defoe. That's all he is. He's a French Jermaine Defoe.
Thanks, Mark, for taking the call.
No worries, pal. I'll speak to you soon.
See you, bud.
Ta-da. Yeah, I apologise on behalf of the United. No, obviously I don't. That's Flex's opinion. And to be fair, that is what the United stand's always been about. It's all about opinion. But personally, Lacazette is better than Lukaku. Never in a million years. But let's take another call. James, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, you're live on United Stand, James. What do you want to talk about?
Well, for starters, when I was watching the game at the weekend, I was reading things on the internet about Pogba being studs up against Bellerin, but really it wasn't. He went to touch the ball and Bellerin kneeled down.
Yeah, no,
it was an accident.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's an odd one because there are people out there saying, "Oh, it's definitely a red card," but I do think they are being brainwashed by the fact that they're just looking at the impact of the tackle and they're not seeing the geography of it, the physics of it, the intent behind it. The big question is, what is Pogba supposed to do? How can he stop that happening? The momentum's there, and like you say, Bellerin just puts his leg in a really. I've never seen a tackle like that. He's sort of like, I don't know. It's just a really, really freak situation, and it baffles me that a lot of people are saying what a great decision it was, because I think actually it was a poor one. But just very quickly, can I just ask you, because no one's answered it yet? Yeah. De Bruyne or Pogba? Do you think that's a debate? People getting very passionate about it, some saying De Bruyne is way better.
Hands down, Pogba for me. I mean, De Bruyne, yeah. At the minute he's having a really good spell but he has a very good team around him. But at the minute, so does Pogba. We just need one extra player just to help it out, and so he can play more passes and then get crosses into the box.
I agree with you. I mean, I do like De Bruyne. I do like him. He's a good player, and I think actually he stick De Bruyne in the position Lingard's been playing, and United would probably be 10 points better off than City. Not possible, but you know what I mean. He is good in that position. Yeah. But the difference for me is, you've hit the nail on the head, is that De Bruyne is playing well in a very attacking side, and he's got a lot of good players around him. United, without Pogba, are not that good. When we've got Pogba, we look amazing, and we have done for the last couple of games. So for me, Pogba, and even Hazard at Chelsea, Pogba and Hazard are better than De Bruyne because they're playing in teams that aren't as good as City, but they're effectively one-men teams when it comes to attack. So Pogba's Fion's just said it there. Pogba's a better all-rounder. I mean, for me, I don't know about you, James, De Bruyne is not even a midfielder anyway. I don't know why people are talking. Can De Bruyne track back and win physical battles and tackles and headers and stuff like that? He's an attacking midfielder, whereas Pogba is the ultimate box-to-box midfielder. I don't think there's anybody better in world football at the moment. Yeah.
Well, I don't like Hazard. I mean, it might just be the fact that he's from Chelsea, but I really don't like Hazard. The way he plays is just not my style, yeah. But don't get me wrong, I do like De Bruyne, but he's just not on par for me like Pogba. Yeah, he would definitely help us out, but Yeah,
I
like you
agree.
said, he's just very good in a very attacking team.
Yeah, and Frisch King says it as well. De Bruyne is a central attacking midfielder. Pogba is a CM. You can't compare them. I think actually in the same team they'd be dynamite, to be fair. But how I just see City. I just see a lot of City fans and also a lot of Arsenal fans because they're just trying their best to give us some at the moment. But there's no comparison. There's no comparison. Lingard or De Bruyne is more of a debate than that. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about, James? You confident about the City game? Would you play Fellaini?
Well, as it stands, I mean, I think what I would do is I would bring in Fellaini and Herrera, play Herrera with Matic, and like play a 4-2-3-1, and play Fellaini as a number 10. Yeah. Just like get him in the box and get the crosses in.
You know what? I think I mentioned that last night, or maybe I thought about it, but I think there's two options against City. I think we'll either do the formation that we've done for the last couple of games and hopefully do what you've said there and have Herrera with Matic, Fellaini in at the number 10 with Lukaku, and then Martial and Lingard either side, or we'll go back to the 4-3, put 3 in the midfield really, which would be Fellaini, Herrera and Matic. It's going to be an intriguing game, really, really intriguing. If I had to put you on the spot, what would be a score prediction for that next Sunday?
I'm gonna keep it as like a close one and probably say something like 3-2 United, or maybe 2-1. Yeah. I definitely think it's going to be a win for United.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. We'd certainly get Christmas off to a cracker. Thanks for calling, James. Really good call.
Okay.
Cheers, pal.
See you, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about this City game is, and I know we've got Moscow tomorrow, but realistically, we ain't going to lose 7-0, and it's all about it, isn't it? Don't forget to drop a like on the video. It is now a Skype show, so support your fellow United standers. Drop a like on the video. It's really important that you support the community, and we've got a great community. So make sure you subscribe. Bottom right hand corner for the hologram there. United Stand live every night at 8 o'clock. We'll be live tomorrow night at about 6:45 with the team news right the way through till full time. I think we've got fan cams again tomorrow. So yeah, please do subscribe, like and get involved. But it's all about City at the weekend. And for all the work that we've done, them 12 points that we've got from the international break, and I remember the international break at the start of November when everyone was like, oh, we're screwed. City are going to be double points ahead of us. And let's not forget, City have won 4 of their games as well. So we had to win 4 to get just to keep it at 8 points. And we've done that. We've given ourselves this opportunity now. We've got, as a one-off, I don't really care if Mourinho parks the bus at Old Trafford and we win 1-0. I think in the bigger context of things, what we've just got to do at the weekend is beat City and trust Mourinho to do what he's done throughout his whole career, and that is burst the balloon of somebody that is in far better form, that's had a lot more money spent on it. They are top of the league. We need to win it. To be fair, City, a draw is a good result for them. Keep it at 8 points. Can City come and play for a draw? I don't think they can. I think City are just a better version of Liverpool, really. That they have one way of playing, they can't defend, and they have no plan B. So in Pep's mind, he's probably saying, I'll take a point right now. And it's a good point. But I don't think he's got the team to do it. He's already crying about height. And if we can bring height into it, then that's great. But I read something really, really good about City today, and more about Pep Guardiola, to be honest. There's something I was always aware of with Pep, and I'm not saying keep your eye out for this on Sunday because it'll frustrate the hell out of you, but I'm a connoisseur of football like many of you, and the Barcelona revolution that came around in the late noughties and deprived of us of 2 Champions Leagues, to be fair, is probably one of the best sides I've seen in my lifetime, that Barcelona side. But one of the worst sides to it was the fact that they crowd the referee and they dive. And Bayern Munich did the same, and Manchester City do it. We saw it with Delph yesterday. And that's Guardiola. He, for all this tiki-taka, we love Pep's way of football, one of the things the press never ever go to town on him on. But they'll go to town on Mourinho for parking the bus, even though he doesn't do it that often. He'll do it effectively sometimes, but he doesn't do it every game. But you watch City, every single game, they'll be diving, they'll be crowding the referee, and that is inbred by Pep and his, what I would call Pep Guardiola, is a spoilt little child who moans and snitches about everything. And that's what his teams are like. They're good footballing teams, but they've got that horrible element to it as well. And one thing they also do, which is Is it cynical? Is it clever? When the opposition break, Pep is a big advocate of the early foul. Give the early foul. When they're breaking, foul them early. Because one, you probably won't get a yellow card. You're certainly not going to get a red card. But foul them early and break the momentum and get everybody back in play. And that is another tactic of Guardiola. But you won't see all this because the press will make you believe that this is the best thing since sliced bread. But he manages, he encourages diving, he encourages crowding of the referee, and he encourages the early foul to break up the play. So there you go. Let's take another call. Oh, I've just clicked. I think I've clicked Rich. Rich, can you hear me? How you doing? All right?
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about,
mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
I want to talk about like how Pogba's gone and that we miss him and stuff
yeah,
like
go
that.
on then. The floor's yours.
Even though like he's gone, and I think we're not a very good footballing side without him, I still think we've got the players to like fill in for him. Like, I think Fellaini and Matic could do a job in the midfield.
I mean, we're obviously talking about City again here. I mean, are you know, we've given ourselves this great opportunity, like I said. How do you think Mourinho's going to approach it? Do you think he will attack them, or do you think he'll keep it cagey and try and sort of, use that sort of height? Because set pieces is where we'll cause them problems.
I think the only thing City can do with our defence is try and get in behind with like Gabriel Jesus and Sané and Sterling, and if we use our height, we can stop them.
Yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts in relation to the game? I mean, are you confident about it, or is it, I think all fans are obviously nervous. It's a derby.
I'm not overconfident that we're going to get a win, but I hope we get a win because I want us to win, but I think we're going to get a draw.
And here's a question for you, Rich. Obviously, January's coming up very, very soon. I think two fantastic performances from Manchester United in, two really defensively good sides, but progressive attacking sides. January approaching, summer approaching. Where do you think United still need to improve, and what sort of player position would you be looking at to improve us?
I still think we need to address the left-hand side. Someone who can put the ball in the box to give Lukaku some more service, like a Perisic, but I know he's not coming. But someone like that.
Yeah. A bit. I mean, would you be looking at? I mean, Danny Rose has been mentioned. If we
I like Danny Rose at United, like for the English quota as well.
Yeah. He doesn't seem to be that settled at Spurs, but I suppose it depends how much we could get him for. And you mentioned about Pogba. I mean, we're not going to have Pogba against Man City at the weekend. We didn't have him for the month of October, and we struggled. Do you think we need somebody to come in there who's, Pogba for me, I don't think there's a replacement, but I do think we need a more, you've got Herrera, you've got Fellaini and Matic, who you mentioned, but I do think we need a midfielder who's, they're never going to be Pogba, but somebody who can attack.
When we've got Pogba, we're more of like a footballing side because we've not got that player to like put through the killer pass when he's there. There's no point having pace if you've not got that player to put in the really nice passes. And without Pogba, that's what I think.
No, I do. I agree. I think, it was getting called a flop by even United fans last year, but definitely a lot of non-United fans. And I think this season, he's missed a lot of the season, unfortunately, because of that injury, and obviously he's going to miss the next 3 games as well. But for what he's played, I just think he's head and shoulders the best midfielder in the league. I can't think of anybody better. And, I don't watch enough of European football to know that, but I just think, £90 million, he looks well worth it at the moment.
Yeah, it is. He justified his price tag totally because of, like, Dembele went for 150 million from Barcelona.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for calling in, Rich. Please do call in again.
You know who we need in the midfield? We need you because you've got your wonderful left foot. So you solve everything.
Yeah, well, maybe no. I was going to say maybe 10 years ago, but I don't think. I'm better off talking about it, to be honest. I think I talk a good game. I hope.
Yeah. All
Cheers, pal.
All right, see you.
Set up. Very rarely speechless, but I was a little bit speechless there. But what I wanted to say about Pogba was, and obviously, red card or not, it's the thing that people will remember about Pogba about that game. But there was lots of examples in both the Watford and Arsenal game. But Pogba won us that game. Pogba won us that game at 2-1. I know De Gea was just out of this universe, and Arsenal cannot moan. I said it last night and I'll say it again. Arsenal cannot moan about the best team losing because you didn't hit the post. You didn't you weren't lucky. You weren't unlucky in front of goal. We either cleared it, blocked it, or saved it. And there might have been world-class saves, but we've got a world-class goalkeeper, and De Gea is as important as Lingard scoring the goals. Those saves are like goals. So Arsenal, sit down. But in relation to the third goal, what Pogba does, the way he drives into the box, the way he rolls Koscielny like a piece of pastry and then lays it off. That is... I've always said that about Pogba. For a midfielder to be able to do that, the last one I really remember doing it, and they're not similar, but in this way they are, is Gascoigne in his prime. Getting the ball in midfield, driving forward and running at players. It is just so rare these days. It's rare anyway for a midfielder. But once he skips past one... That kills a team tactically. Someone's got to go to him because he can shoot from 30 yards. They go to him, it creates a space. So, that Pogba's part in that third goal was just world class, and it won us the game. Lingard played well, but he did have 2 tap-ins. A world-class assist from Pogba for the winner, and a world-class assist from Martial for the first. Pogba is amazing, and we are going to miss him at the weekend. It would be like, we've mentioned De Bruyne, Pogba. If City didn't have De Bruyne at the weekend, they'd be crying as well. So, it's hard, but we're going to have to do it the hard way. We've had to do it the hard way from the international break. Keep on believing. Muax says, where is Mkhitaryan? Very good question. Very good question. Where is Mkhitaryan? Surely Mkhitaryan should play tomorrow, is what I would think. Remember to drop a like on the video, everybody. Lots of people calling in. I was trying to get Ian there because he has been trying to phone a lot. Hopefully we'll try again. I'll try him again, actually. He's just tried. Ian, can you hear me? Hello? Problems with Ian. Let's try Martin. Can you hear me, Martin?
Yeah, hiya.
How you doing? Oh, I know Martin. How you doing, pal?
I'm fine. A couple of points. It was a good performance on Saturday. Obviously, we've had the usual media reaction with regards to the game's performance. But at the end of the day, football's about putting the ball in the net. You don't win games by having the most chance to put the ball in the net. You win games by how many times you get the ball in the net. It doesn't matter whether the man of the match is your keeper or your striker. If you put the ball in the net more times than the other team, you're gonna win the game. So we just had a dose of the media about all the so we were lucky because of the number of saves that De Gea made. It's just nonsense. If you put the ball in the net more times than the other team, it doesn't matter how many chances they had. You're still you're gonna win the game. I think moving on to Sunday, I think Pogba's going to be a miss, but this might be a reason why we didn't appeal. I've just noticed something. Technically, he's got a 2-game ban. The reason why I say it's a 2-game ban is the third game's a League Cup game. 99.9% certain he would not have played in that game.
Yeah. I'm
just wondering if that's why we didn't appeal, because technically it's only a 2-game ban.
I said it at the start, Martin, and that's a good point. But I also think, I don't think it was red card. I don't know about you, but yeah. We never would have won it, and they probably would have added another game. So I wish we had appealed it because it wasn't a red card for me. But from a club point of view, they've been very clever because they know it would be thrown out anyway.
Especially so soon after the Lukaku thing as well. They would have. I think there's two things that the two things of thing with the appeal. Like I said, the missing a League Cup game, he wouldn't have played it anyway, and this was just Paul being daft, sarcastically clapping the referee. I think had we appealed, they'd come after him for that.
Yeah, definitely. I know you like your stats, Martin, as well, and I'd forgotten to mention this. Michael Oliver is the referee in the derby. That concerns me. I remember the last derby I think he did was the one where he sent Smalling off and he let Joe Hart basically headbutt him without anything. So Referee obviously is going to be a big influence. The one thing I would say is we will be more physical than City because we are more physical. I hope a silly red card doesn't cost us in that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the Fellaini's good. I was going to put with Fellaini it's a red card. It's a red card waiting to happen. But the plus side is the last two or three games have shown City are weak in the air at corners. Fellaini could get on the end of something and get a decisive goal. But like I said, with the referee, it's a bit of a tie-up. I hope it doesn't have a silly red card. Going back to stats, the other thing is if we do win on Sunday, the league's back on. I think the league is back on for another reason. The weekend after the derby, City play Spurs. In the last 2 seasons, they've taken 10 points off City, so they're a bit of their bogey team. So by Christmas, obviously it's counting chickens, but by a week before Christmas, that 8 points could easily be 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we've mentioned on the show, and it's something I've definitely been very aware about, and I'm sure you have as well. It was all about just, we've got to beat them. We take it down to 5, and then Spurs. I'm sort of glad Spurs aren't getting results, because that won't continue for a long time. Spurs are a decent side. They were good against us a month ago. They've been good most of this season, and I think they can beat City, like you say. But hopefully, if we're 2 points off them at Christmas, then it is game on. But we've got to win at the weekend.
Yeah, I think we've got that's the key. That's the key thing. They beat them at the weekend. They obviously getting the gap down to 5, and then the whole psychological thing of beating them. I mean, you beat them in pre-season, but I watched that pre-season game. You can't put too much store on that game. I think if you watch the pre-season game against City, it was obvious. It was our third pre-season game there first. That was the difference that day. I think Sunday's going to be a lot closer, but hopefully we can nick it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, top versus second, title on the line, all that. But also, I know United are a global club, and we all watch from all around the world. But it's also about a Manchester derby and bragging rights and all that. So I just think it's just got everything, the game, and I'm just so proud that Mourinho did get those results against Watford and Arsenal, because whatever happens, that was a huge achievement to go and do that, and we've just given ourselves a great opportunity.
Yeah, I think we do have to carry on with the good start and get the 3 points, against City and go on a bit of a run, because the other thing is that it happened last year, it happened the year before, though it wasn't Pep there. I think it was when Pellegrini was still there. They went on this great run, came unstuck, and then they had something like 7 or 8 games where they didn't win. So I think that obviously if we were to beat them on Sunday, the same thing could happen, and it could be ourselves going building a lead over Christmas and into the new year.
Definitely, yeah. Thanks for calling, Martin. Great call as ever.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, pal. Yeah, I mean, so many permutations of what actually could happen for Manchester United over the next few weeks. I mean, if you said to me we'll be 2 points off City on Christmas Day, I would be like, happy Christmas. I'm not counting my chickens. I always think if you're in a title race at Christmas, great. And for many years in my life, I've been fortunate to have that. The reality is, to be 8 points off them is great. The reality is as well that they have had an element of luck this season, and you look at their last few games, and I really do wish over the last few games they played somebody of some decency. They are going to play someone of decency on Sunday. The talking will be over. I think everyone sort of knows how to play against City now. It's just whether you've then got the players to do it. 1 goal's not going to be enough. They're going to probably score 2 against you, as they did against West Ham. But that is certainly the way to cause them problems. And we'll see. We'll see. Very excited about it. But obviously we've got United playing tomorrow night, so hopefully they can... it's interesting how we'll approach the game tomorrow, because the last 2 games have been very entertaining. Do we want to be entertaining again and risk losing that form for Sunday? Do we just want to go through the motions and keep a couple of players back like Matic, like we are? We'll be live with you tomorrow night at 6:45 with the team news. I think Mad Marcus is back with me. But But yeah, really excited about it. Please do drop a like on the video for everybody who's called in tonight. It's been a preview slash. We'll never not do the Skype bit on a Monday night because it's one of my favourite bits about the channel. But obviously we had to do the preview. Harry Ball has left a contribution. Thank you. He says, Mark, please could you give us your rating on Shaw and whether he deserves a chance? Don't think Jose Mourinho should give him a chance in a League Cup game. I think Luke Shaw desperately needs to be given a start. If only for curiosity reasons. I really just want to see if he is good enough. And I think in a game like tomorrow, it'd be great. Funnily enough, I don't think he will start, but I'd love to see him start. Darian Jones, Lingard is doing exactly what we expect from Mkhitaryan. Thanks for that contribution. And Adis TV says, Swedish press, Ibra rested tomorrow for City game. So that's interesting. Ibra against City. Would you consider that? For me, it'd be a massive, massive risk. As I said, please do drop a like on the video and support everyone who calls in. We'll always do the Skype show on a Monday night because it's my favourite. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you are new with the hologram in the bottom right hand corner. We will be live tomorrow night at 6:45 with the team news right the way through till full time. Get involved with the channel. Remember, if you are already subscribed, click the bell and get notifications for when we go live. It's great at the moment, really great. We've had a fantastic week, starting with Watford through the Arsenal game, 6 points, 7 goals, great football, great formation, great individual performances, positive. I just hope it continues. I hope it continues. And you know, even looking beyond City, and maybe we shouldn't look beyond that because it's such a massive game, but even after that, you know, Bournemouth midweek after that, then we're away at West Brom, then we're away at Leicester before Christmas. So, you know, they're not easy games. It's going to be thick and fast and coming in. And maybe that's why we didn't appeal the Pogba ban as well, because we will be back for that Leicester game, which is probably the hardest one. Thanks everyone for watching. Speak to you all soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And really loving the content at the moment. Maybe it coincides with the fact that United are doing well. But there's a lot of good chat, and I think we're all benefiting from it together. So thanks to all you lot as per usual. Loads of people watching again, but the community's real and the comments have been fantastic. So thanks everyone from me. Speak to you all soon.